Hey, what's up? Jaron Ikner, aka Arizona Kanye, in the building for Starstruck TV. Here with another thought piece talking about my man Kanye West. As we all anxiously await to see if his new album, Donda with Child, which he just changed the title to a couple days ago, is going to drop tonight. I figured I'd hop on here and do a pre-reaction / pre-review on what you can probably expect on this album. Now, the track lists that have come out on this album, he has dropped 5 so far, I believe, have been vastly different, but there's been a few staples on here that seem to be indicative of what's going to happen on this album. One, it does seem like this album will be drawing a lot from the Yandhi sessions. There seems to be tracks on there, including the very well received track New Body. Also Alien seems to be on there as well, which I'm very excited about Alien, mostly because if you are really up in the Yandhi leaks and all that, you know that there's like, I think there's like a 30-minute mix version of Alien that features everybody from Kid Cudi, Young Thug, a whole bunch of people on this track. Now, this song was created during before Kanye became non-secular. So with that in mind, it's going to be interesting to see how this song ends up. One thing about the track list that has come out is that there's no guest appearances on the track list. But I do believe that we'll probably see a bunch of guest appearances on here. Keep in mind that Kanye was working on an album, a sequel to Jesus is King with Dr. Dre. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dr. Dre is involved in this project in some way, shape, or form. If he's either mixing it, I don't expect him to be dropping a verse on it, but don't be surprised if he's mixing it or maybe providing some beats or production on the back end. I also think that we'll probably get a couple more songs from the Yandhi leaks, including Hurricane, which I think is tentatively titled Run on his album. But I think Hurricane is probably the most anticipated song from Kanye West fans that want that in a actual official release. He actually teased that song when he had an Instagram account for however long that was. One of the videos he put out was a teaser for Hurricane, so we know that at some point he was planning on getting this popping and releasing it as a single, but then obviously he went through what he went through and decided to be do Christian music. But since then, there have been reworkings of Hurricane that have hit the internet in different formats. I actually just listened to the full version of it that contained a very synthed out ending. And like I said, this is probably one of the most anticipated songs from the Yandhi sessions that people really want. That and New Body. But honestly, I think that this album will be more in line with Jesus is King than it will be Yeezus. And it's kind of disappointing, but the reason why I say that is because this album does not, at least at this point, it doesn't have Wash Us in the Blood, which was supposed to be the lead single when the album was called God's Country. That when he has released all these track lists, that song has not been on there, neither any of the track lists that he's put out. This leads me to believe that he is either reserving that for another project, maybe that is for the Dr. Dre Jesus is King project, because Dr. Dre did actually do the engineering on that track, so it actually would make sense if that was for Jesus is King 2, and that was a Dr. Dre situation. With that said, it's kind of disappointing. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of Jesus is King, and mostly it's because it was a little bit too religious for me. Not in even what he was rapping about. I'm talking sonically. We had choirs and strings and orchestrals and all kinds of stuff that I think really took away from what Kanye was trying to do sonically on this album. And since we know that Wash Us in the Blood is not on this project, and we don't really have any indication of what this is going to be besides the fact that we kind of think there might be some Yeezus tracks on there. And honestly, I would be pleasantly surprised if there were a few more. One of my favorite tracks from the Yeezus leaks, the Yandhi leaks, is Bye Bye Baby. Incredible song. but that lyrically speaking, it's not something that is a non-secular Christian song. And if Kanye is still sticking to that, then I don't expect to hear that song. But that was probably one of my favorite songs from that run. There's Floatin', which, I have my own remix version on the page. Go check that out with Kanye West. I love that beat, love that song. But I don't expect to hear that on the album either. In fact, I wasn't expecting to hear any of the Yandhi songs, actually, until I saw the track list and saw what people were saying, and people were really speculating that New Body was going to be on there, which, I think New Body in its original form was a fantastic song. I really love that song, and I think that Kanye and Nicki Minaj and Ty Dolla $ign had a hit song in their hands with that in its original form. I think the tricky part is the fact that Kanye, who is now, non-secular Kanye, if he tries to rework this song, it's going to probably come off pretty corny. I don't think that there's really going to be a way for this song to come off not corny. I mean, people are already summarizing that, like, the whole New Body thing is going to be like New Body of Christ and this and it's like, like the energy that you have the song. Not to say that the original version of the song was that much more wholesome and better to listen to, because, it's about plastic surgery and girls reworking themselves. But I think that either extreme in this situation is not going to really work. So it will be really interesting to see how Kanye manages to put this song out. I'm really excited, though. At this point, it's just a matter of if Kanye is actually going to drop the album. Because if you've been paying attention to what's been going on, Taylor Swift announced that an album is dropping later tonight, who, is probably going to go number one. I don't think Kanye is going to outsell Taylor Swift no matter what. I don't think there's any scenario where Kanye outsells Taylor Swift right now. And if Kanye is wanting to be Kanye, I could see him pushing back his album just so he doesn't have to go up against Taylor Swift. Because if he does go up against Taylor Swift, he is not going to go number one. Taylor Swift stole his number one. That's facts. And you guys can argue with me about that in the comments if you want. But the fact is that Taylor Swift is just a larger artist. And I think that if Kanye is trying to do what Kanye does, which is go number one every time out and do this and do the numbers, it'll be a good competition, but I don't think that he can handle the Taylor Swift heads. I don't know what Taylor Swift heads are called. What are Taylor Swift fans called? Swiftonites? Swiftins? Swiftorians? Tell me what a Taylor Swift fan is in the comment. I'm sure you'll tell me. But yeah, I think that I don't be surprised if this album gets delayed, because of the fact that, one, it's kind of been Kanye's MO lately with pushing back and moving release dates and shifting things around. And two, I think Kanye wants the number one. I think that Kanye didn't go through all this crap. If you guys believe that this is all a hype rollout, I don't believe that he aired out his wife and did all this crap, campaign rallies, all this promo and rollout just to go number two. And, conspiracy me actually thinks that Taylor Swift did this on purpose. They have their little beef, and honestly, the best way to hit Kanye is to hit him in his ego, and Taylor Swift could come out of nowhere and hit with the number one. But I kind of went on a tangent there. We're talking about the album Donda with Love. If not it comes out, that remains to be seen. My guess is, at this point, we're not going to see it this week, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get another name change before it actually comes out, just because I know how Kanye be. But I don't know. Well, we'll see. I will be closely watching his Twitter account to see what happens. 'Cause I'm sure he's about to pop off on Twitter here soon, and we will see if Donda with Love will drop in a couple hours. I honestly think that it's, I say it's 70-30 right now, 70 being that it doesn't drop. But those are my predictions. I think we get Alien, I think we get Hurricane, I think we get New Body, but I think the New Body version that I'm expecting is going to be terrible. And the rest of the tracks I think are going to be more in line with Jesus is King and not in line with Yeezus, which Washes in the Blood was more like Yeezus sound, which I'm disappointed in. But I also think there's a bigger chess move with that, because Washes in the Blood was engineered by, it wasn't produced by, it was engineered by Dr. Dre, which is why it sounds so great. And if they're working on the album together, then that's for that. That's the way I see that. And God's Country was supposed to be the sequel. I don't know. I'm not going to really try to decipher too much of it. But I do know that Wash Us in the Blood, at least as far as Kanye told us, is not on this album. So I think this album is going to be sonically different than what Wash Us in the Blood was presenting us. Plus, you sprinkle in a couple Yandhi leaks. Then you got Donda with Love. Who knows? I guess we'll see. Only time will tell. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share. When the album drops, come back here and watch this video and see how right I was or how wrong I was and tell me how trash I am. Love you all. Thanks for watching. Peace. Stay safe. Wash your hands. One love.